Here is something nobody ever told you about mosquitoes. They do not find you by sight. They do not find you by movement. They find you by smell. The carbon dioxide you exhale, the lactic acid in your sweat, the warmth radiating off your skin. To a mosquito, you are a beacon, a signal broadcasting from 50 meters away saying, "Here I am, come and get me." Now here is what changes everything. There are plants, common plants, plants you can grow in your garden, on your farm, in pots on your porch, that broadcast a completely different signal, one that mosquitoes cannot stand, one that confuses their sensors, overwhelms their nervous system, and drives them away from the area entirely. Not sprays, not candles, not chemicals that wash off in the rain and cost you money every single week. Plants, permanent, living, growing plants that work every single day, all season long, without you doing anything at all. Today, we are counting down 20 of them, from useful to extraordinary, and I promise you, by the time we reach number 1, you will never look at your garden the same way again. Stay for number 1, because that plant does something to mosquitoes that scientists only confirmed a few years ago, and it is remarkable. Chapter 2, The Science, Why Plants Work. Before the list, 30 seconds of science, because once you understand why these plants work, you will use them 10 times more effectively. Mosquitoes navigate using their antennae. Those antennae are covered in chemoreceptors, tiny sensors tuned to detect specific chemical compounds in the air. Carbon dioxide from your breath, octanol from your skin. These signals tell the mosquito, food is here, fly toward it. Certain plants produce volatile compounds, essential oils, terpenes, aldehydes, that either mask those signals completely or actively repel the mosquito's chemoreceptors. The mosquito's navigation system gets overwhelmed or confused. It cannot locate the source of food. It moves on. Here is the important part that most people get wrong. A plant sitting in a pot does not repel mosquitoes just by existing. The volatile compounds need to be released into the air. That happens 3 ways: when the plant is brushed or touched, when the leaves are lightly crushed, and in some plants, passively through natural evaporation and heat. So placement matters. Growing these plants along pathways where you brush against them, near seeding areas where body heat activates them, and in clusters where the combined volatile output is stronger, that is the difference between a plant that works and one that just sits there looking nice. Now, the list. 20 plants, counting down from useful to the one that changes everything. Let us start with number 20, and I'll tell you right now, this one surprises almost everyone, because most people grow it in their kitchen. They just never knew it was quietly protecting them at the same time.
Chapter 3, Plants, 20 to 16, The Kitchen Garden Defenders. Number 20, Basil. Basil, the plant sitting in a pot on your kitchen windowsill right now, might be doing more than flavoring your cooking. Basil releases its volatile compounds, primarily linalool and eugemal, passively into the surrounding air without needing to be touched or crushed. In a 2009 study published in the journal Bioresource Technology, basil essential oil showed significant repellent activity against Aedes aegypti, the species responsible for transmitting dengue fever, Zika, and yellow fever. Grow it in pots near doorways and windows. Grow it along the edge of your outdoor seating area. In hot weather, the passive release of those compounds creates a low-level protective field around the plant. And, as a bonus, if you brush a leaf between your fingers and rub it on your skin, you have a natural topical repellent that works for up to 2 hours. 1 plant, 2 functions, 0 chemicals. Number 19. Peppermint. Mint family plants are some of the most powerful natural mosquito repellents in existence, and peppermint, Mentha piperita, is the strongest of them all. The menthol and menthone compounds in peppermint are genuinely toxic to mosquito larvae. Research has shown that peppermint oil applied to standing water kills mosquito larvae before they can mature into biting adults. That is not just repelling, that is interrupting the breeding cycle. Grow peppermint in containers, and this is important because it spreads aggressively underground via runners if planted directly in the ground. In a pot, it stays controlled, it stays concentrated, and it stays harvestable for teas, cooking, and DIY repellent sprays. Place pots of peppermint near every outdoor gathering spot. Crush a few leaves every time you sit down outside. The menthol volatilizes immediately and creates a strong local repellent effect. Number 18. Rosemary. Rosemary is a Mediterranean subshrub that has been used as a mosquito deterrent across southern Europe for centuries. The camphor, alpha-pinene, and borneol compounds in its essential oil are all documented mosquito repellents. What makes rosemary especially valuable on a farm or in a larger garden is its size and longevity. A well-established rosemary bush can grow 3 to 4 feet tall and equally wide, creating a large volatile emitting mass that protects a significant area, especially on warm days when the oils evaporate naturally from the surface of the leaves. There is also a practical fire use here that most people have never tried. Throw dried rosemary stems onto a barbecue or a fire pit. The smoke produced is a documented mosquito repellent. The burning releases those same camphor compounds into the air in concentrated form. People around the fire are sitting inside a natural repellent cloud. No citronella candle required. Number 17. Lemon thyme. Lemon thyme, Thymus citriodorus, is consistently underrated in the mosquito repellent conversation, and I do want to understand why. In a direct comparison study, lemon thyme applied to skin as a crushed leaf rub provided 62% of the protection of DEET, the synthetic chemical in most commercial repellent sprays. 62% from a plant you can grow in a small pot for almost nothing. The citrol and geraniol compounds responsible are also found in lemongrass and citronella, which we will get to, but lemon thyme delivers them in a compact, easy-to-grow, cold hardy package that survives winters that would kill lemongrass. Grow it in full sun in well-draining soil. Let it spill over the edges of raised beds and pathways so it gets brushed regularly. Every brush releases the repellent compounds directly into the air around you. Number 16. Sage. Sage, Salvia officinalis, does double duty as a culinary herb and a mosquito deterrent. The thujone and camphor compounds in its leaves are repellent when volatilized. Like rosemary, sage is most effective when burned. Bundles of dried sage thrown onto a fire or barbecue produce a strongly scented smoke that mosquitoes actively avoid. This is not folklore. It has been used deliberately by outdoor workers and farmers across the Mediterranean and North Africa for generations. Fresh sage planted in the garden contributes a passive deterrent effect. Burned sage creates an active protective zone. Grow it in full sun, poor to average soil, excellent drainage. It is drought tolerant, deer resistant, and requires almost no maintenance once established. 5 plants in, every one of them something you may already grow, every one of them working harder than you knew. But from number 15 forward, the plants become more specialized, more powerful, and in some cases, more surprising, because the next plant on this list is one that most people associate with relaxation and beauty. What they do not know is that it is one of the most scientifically validated mosquito repellents in the world.
Chapter 4. Plants. 15 to 11. The powerhouse layer. Number 15. Lavender. Lavender is beautiful. It smells extraordinary. Bees love it. Butterflies love it. Mosquitoes hate it. The linalool and linaloyl acetate compounds that give lavender its distinctive fragrance are the same compounds that interfere with mosquito chemoreception. While you are sitting next to a lavender bush enjoying the scent, the mosquito's navigation system is being scrambled by those exact same molecules. Lavandula angustifolia, English lavender, is the most documented species for repellent activity. Mass planted along pathways, around seating areas, and at the entry points to your home and garden. In research trials, lavender oil applied to the skin provided up to 8 hours of protection against Aedes mosquitoes. 8 hours from a plant you grow once and harvest year after year. And the secondary benefit, lavender dries beautifully. Hang bunches of dried lavender near doorways and windows. As the dried flowers slowly continue to release linaloyl, they provide passive repellent protection indoors. Number 14. Lemongrass. Lemongrass, Cymbopogon citratus, is where the list starts to get serious. The citral content of lemongrass, which gives it that sharp, clean citrus scent, is one of the most potent natural mosquito repellents known to science. And lemongrass is the source plant of citronella oil, not citronella grass, lemongrass. Citronella candles and sprays are derived from compounds first identified in lemongrass. In other words, you can grow the source of the product that the entire mosquito repellent industry built itself on. Lemongrass grows in large architectural clumps up to 5 feet tall in tropical and subtropical climates. In cooler zones, it can be grown in large containers and brought indoors for winter. The passive volatile release from a mature lemongrass clump in full sun is substantial, enough to create a measurable repellent effect in the surrounding area without any human intervention. Planted as a border along the perimeter of outdoor seating areas, planted at entry points to your home, use it as a living fence along the boundary of areas you want to protect. Number 13. Citronella grass. Citronella grass, Cymbopogon nardus, is the specific species from which most commercial citronella products are refined. It is distinct from lemongrass, but closely related, and it is one of the highest citronella-producing plants you can grow. The honest truth about citronella grass is this: the plant itself provides moderate passive repellent protection in the immediate surrounding area.
The volatile output from the leaves and heat is real and documented, but the concentrated oil extracted from it, used in candles, sprays, and diffusers, is significantly more potent than just being near the living plant. Which means the smart strategy is both. Grow citronella grass as a living perimeter plant, and harvest the leaves to make your own concentrated infusions and sprays for direct application. You are growing the raw material of a product. Use it like one. Number 13. Catmint. Catmint, Nepeta cataria, contains a compound called nepetalactone, and nepetalactone is extraordinary. A 2001 study from Iowa State University found that nepetalactone is 10 times more effective at repelling mosquitoes than DEET. 10 times, from a plant that grows like a weed, survives drought, requires almost no care, and spreads aggressively enough to cover large areas cheaply and quickly. The reason catmint is not more widely known in the repellent conversation is that it needs to be crushed or bruised to release nepetalactone in significant quantities. The passive release from an undisturbed plant is lower than plants like lemongrass or lavender. The solution is placement. Grow catmint along every pathway, stair edge, and walkway on your farm or garden. Every time a person or animal brushes past it, nepetalactone is released directly into the air around them. You are essentially creating a gauntlet of repellent that activates automatically every time someone uses the path. Number 11. Marigold. French marigolds, Tagetes patula, are one of the most widely planted ornamental flowers in the world, and they contain a compound called pyrethrum. Pyrethrum is not just a repellent, it is a natural insecticide, one so effective that the synthetic version, permethrum, is used in commercial pest control products and military-issue insect repellent uniforms. The living marigold plant releases pyrethrum passively through its leaves and flowers. The concentration from a single plant is low, but mass-planted, as a border, as a companion planting row alongside vegetables, as a thick edging around an outdoor seating area, the cumulative effect becomes significant. And marigolds do something no other plant on this list does. They repel mosquitoes from the air while simultaneously killing whiteflies, aphids, and nematodes in the soil around them. They are doing pest control in 3 dimensions simultaneously. Plant them densely, plant them everywhere. They are cheap, fast-growing, and doing more work than they get credit for. 11 plants, and every single one of them earning its place in your garden for reasons most people never knew existed. But from number 10 down, the plants become more unusual, more powerful, and in 2 cases, genuinely surprising in ways that science is still working to fully understand. Chapter 5. Plants 10 to 6. The game changes. Number 10. Geranium, scented. Not all geraniums are equal for mosquito repellent purposes. The one that matters is Pelargonium citrosum, the citronella geranium, also called the mosquito plant geranium. This specific species was bred to maximize its citronella content, the same compound responsible for citronella's repellent activity. The passive volatile release from Pelargonium citrosum is among the highest of any potted plant, making it one of the most effective ornamental container plants for outdoor spaces. Place it on tables, on porch railings, on windowsills, at the entry point to outdoor seating areas. The heat from full sun exposure maximizes the evaporation of the volatile compounds into the surrounding air. It also produces attractive pink and purple flowers, making it one of the most visually appealing plants on this entire list. Number 9. Eucalyptus. Lemon eucalyptus, Corymbia citrosa, is the source of oil of lemon eucalyptus, which is the only plant-based repellent that the United States Centers for Disease Control recognizes as providing protection equivalent to low concentrations of DEET. This is not a fringe natural remedy. This is a plant that passed the same regulatory scrutiny as synthetic chemicals and was found to provide genuine, CDC-validated mosquito protection. Lemon eucalyptus grows as a substantial tree in tropical and subtropical climates, up to 60 feet in ideal conditions, though it can be maintained at a manageable size with regular pruning or grown as a large container specimen in cooler zones. The passive volatile release from a mature lemon eucalyptus tree creates a genuine protective canopy effect in the surrounding area, not just for humans, but reducing the mosquito pressure on livestock, crops, and any outdoor activity happening near it. For farmers, this is a serious consideration. One strategically placed tree can reduce mosquito pressure across a significant surrounding area. Number 8. Pennyroyal. Pennyroyal, Mentha puligium, is the most potent member of the mint family for mosquito repellent purposes, and it is also the most serious one. The puligone compound in pennyroyal is extraordinarily effective as a repellent. Historically, it was used by soldiers in ancient armies to stuff into bedding and clothing, specifically to deter biting insects during campaigns. It is important to be clear about safety here. Pennyroyal oil in concentrated form is toxic if ingested and should never be used on skin undiluted or given to children, pregnant women, or pets. The living plant is safe to grow in the garden. The safety concerns relate to extracted oil used medicinally. As a garden plant, pennyroyal spreads aggressively as a ground cover, releasing puligone passively in heat and strongly when stepped on. Grow it as a living carpet around the perimeter of areas you want to protect. Every footstep activates the repellent. The more it is walked on, the more it works. Number 7. Pitcher plant. Directly. The plant produces a nectar at the rim of its tubular structure that attracts mosquitoes. When the mosquito lands to feed on the nectar, the slippery inner surface of the pitcher sends it falling into a pool of digestive fluid at the base. The mosquito is consumed.
Chapter 7. The System. How to use all 20 together. You now have 20 plants, but 20 individual plants placed randomly around your property will give you a fraction of the protection that 20 plants placed strategically as a system will give you. Here is the framework. Layer 1. The outer perimeter. Lemongrass, citronella grass, vetiver, and neem along the boundary of your property or farm. These are large, robust plants that create a continuous volatile barrier along the edge of your space. They work passively, in heat, all day, changing the chemistry of the air that enters your property from the outside. Layer 2. The inner perimeter. Catmint, catnip, and marigolds planted as a dense border around your living and working areas, the second ring of protection. This is the activation layer. Every time you walk through it, every time the wind moves through it, the repellent compounds are released directly into the spaces you occupy. Layer 3. The contact layer. Basil, lemon thyme, peppermint, and rosemary in pots and containers at doorways, on tables, along pathways, and near outdoor seating. These are the plants you brush against, crush, and interact with directly. Their role is immediate personal protection, the last line of defense before a mosquito reaches you. Layer 4. The water management layer. Neem leaves dropped into standing water. Peppermint planted near water sources. Pitcher plants at the edge of wet areas. This layer addresses the breeding cycle directly, reducing the number of new mosquitoes entering your space before they ever mature. Layer 5. The biological layer. Cowpea, pigeon pea, and groundnut growing in areas with natural Beauveria bassiana soil presence. This layer works invisibly, passively, and cumulatively, reducing the local mosquito population over time through biological means that compound season after season. 5 layers. Each one doing something different, each one reinforcing the others. A farm or garden that implements all 5 layers does not just repel mosquitoes, it fundamentally changes the mosquito ecology of the surrounding area. The population pressure drops, the breeding sites are disrupted, the resting adults are infected, the flying adults are disoriented. The result, over a full season, is a measurably different environment. Not a spray, not a candle, a living system that gets stronger every year. Chapter 8. Emotional Close, CTA. Mosquitoes are not just an annoyance, they are the deadliest animal on Earth, responsible for more human deaths every year than every other animal combined. Malaria, dengue, yellow fever, Zika, chikungunya. Every one of those diseases travels on mosquito wings. The plants in today's video are not a replacement for medical treatment or for serious disease prevention measures where those are needed, but they are a genuine, evidence-based, affordable, and permanent contribution to reducing mosquito pressure around the places where you live, work, and grow food. You have the knowledge now. You have the list. You have the system. What you do with it starts with what you plant next. If this video gave you something genuinely useful, one plant you had not considered, one strategy that changes how you approach your outdoor space, share it with someone who needs it.
because somewhere right now someone is getting bitten who did not need to be. Subscribe for more, hit the bell, and I will see you in the next one.